Hey y'all, Eric here with another LGBT history moment. Today, this is going to be a little short video because I'm kind of tired. I had a busy day today. In fact, I had my earbuds in all day today and it still feels like they're in, even though they're charging right here. Oh, they're fully charged. Now I put my phone on the charger. So today, I'm just going to talk a little bit about a few things that happened on this date in history for LGBT nation. First, back in the day, more than 30 years ago, it's hard for me. Actually, you know what? Let me just do the math real quick. 52 years ago, in Washington, D.C., the federal government passed Title 34, which outlawed discrimination based on sexual orientation. Yes, that's right. They passed Title 34, making it illegal to discriminate based on sexual orientation. Mm. Actually, I'm sorry. I paraphrased that. It wasn't the federal government who did it, it was Washington, D.C., the seat of the federal government, passed Title 34, which outlawed discrimination based on sexual orientation. Mm-hmm. In 1973. We go back a little further outside of the country, and in 1791, not too long after the birth of this nation, France became the first Western European country to decriminalize homosexuality, marking a significant milestone in legal history. Yep. Now we come forward to 1988. The first national HIV and AIDS education campaign in the United States, initiated by then Surgeon General C. Everett Koop, was launched with the mailing of, quote, Understanding AIDS, unquote, to every household. The first educational campaign. I was 3 years out of college when that happened, and I was living in Charleston. And this was when we finally had a name for what was running around making people sick and killing people. And in 2021, Pete Buttigieg was confirmed by the Senate as the U.S. Secretary of Transportation, becoming the first openly gay non-acting cabinet member in U.S. history, where he was Secretary Pete, previously known as Mayor Pete, and became Secretary Pete. Of course, we do have another Pete in the cabinet now, in a different department, who is trying to partay the moniker of Secretary Pete, but it ain't the same. The so-called Secretary of War. And so those were just a few nuggets of history that happened on this date. We are in the throes of a municipal election in Charlotte and around Charlotte. Some of these races are contentious, particularly District 1 for the educational representation on Charlotte-Mecklenburg School Board. We have some other races that are being contested. And then we have a sales tax that we're going to have to vote on. And as I've said in other posts, this is not a perfect bill. It's not. And Charlotte always seems to rush these, even though from their standpoint, city government probably doesn't see this as being rushed. But on the outside looking in, it does appear to be rushed. And so we, the voters of Mecklenburg County, will have the choice to say yes or no to the transit tax referendum. The correct answer is yes. Quite frankly, because I'm on the board of the HOA that I live in, and we are unincorporated. That means we are not connected to any of the towns around Charlotte. We are actually within City Council District 2, which would be under Malcolm Graham, but there are sections of his district which are still unincorporated even to this day. And the state had something to do with that. Because during my research, I found out that this neighborhood was set to be annexed, and the annexation always happens on odd years. Well, something happened in 2009, and we were not able to be annexed, or I should say, this neighborhood was not able to be annexed at that time. So they put it off until 2011. Well, in 2010, the state enacted a law to bar the annexation process that Charlotte, North Carolina, and the capital city, Raleigh, North Carolina, was doing. And what do Raleigh and Charlotte have in common? They're both blue cities. And who had control of the legislature when that law was enacted? The Republicans. Yep. And so now it just means it's that much harder for an older neighborhood, whether they, and particularly those that are governed by HOAs, to get annexed. Because there was no service agreement with the county when this neighborhood was created, when there could have been. Because there will be one for the neighborhood that's being built next door to ours, because they put the right-of-way accesses in place, but they didn't put the service agreement in place. And so it's costing us a lot of money to fix our old roads. But there is money in this bill, in the transit tax referendum, that will go to fix orphan roads. And orphan roads means that they are not serviced by the city or the county. And none of our streets in my neighborhood are serviced by either entity. And it is a long road to get those serviced, to get those agreements in place. So, and that leads me to how I normally wrap up my videos. Elections have consequences. They do. They do. And those of us, in whatever capacity that we can, are fighting the good fight. Some of us are still going to remind you that we're still in the FAFO phase. I'm still in it, but I can see a light at the end of the tunnel. But there are people, videos are starting to pop up now from the No Kings rally on Saturday, where there are still people who have essentially, and I'm glad that I made all my videos not for children, who are still fucking around, and they're getting their comeuppance because they're finding out that even the law authorities are sick of them. Absolutely. And so I ask you, if you're watching this video and you have elections going on in your area, be intentional. Be intentional about finding out who your candidates are. Watch interviews on the news channels. Whether it's PBS or we have in Charlotte on one of the channels, the political beat. Be informed, because I can tell you, an informed voter is an educated voter. And an educated voter is dangerous because we know the truth. And once you become educated, you know how to follow the votes. You know how to follow the money. And you know when people are lying. Some of them now in our state legislature are not even trying to hide what they're trying to do. But that's a subject for another video, which I'm going to do tomorrow. They're just out now saying that they're going to disenfranchise people. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. And so I'm going to take it up. Something that I'm going to do is learn the North Carolina State Constitution. Because they are doing some things in Raleigh, North Carolina that they should not be doing, and nobody is challenging them on it based on the Constitution, except to say, we're well within our rights to do this. So I'll end this. If you're in Charlotte, early voting has started. All locations for early voting will open to receive you on Thursday. So right now there's only one early voting precinct, but Thursday, particularly those that are in the library system and other places that will do early voting, they open on Thursday. If you are in the incorporated areas, you have a lot to consider. If you are in the unincorporated area, there's still a lot to consider, even though we can't vote for them. Just because we can't vote doesn't mean we can't campaign. But all of us that live in Mecklenburg County will be voting on the transit tax referendum. And like I said, if you live in an HOA-driven neighborhood, particularly those who are in unincorporated areas, you would be doing yourself and your neighbors a disservice by not voting yes, because you would stop money coming to your neighborhood to fix your roads. Granted, it's not going to be instant money, but there will be money to fix those roads if it passes. So that's my little tidbit. Vote yes for the transit tax referendum. Hashtag elections have consequences. Hashtag resistance is not futile. See you on the next one. Take care.